Hi everybody, this is Palace or Forest. I'm Old June. We are going to talk about Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana. This June, Russia sent a nuclear submarine to visit Cuba as a protest against the US letting Ukraine use NATO weapons to attack Russian territory. Then the Russian submarine went to Venezuela. I'm puzzled. Didn't the US ease financial sanctions on Venezuela to lower oil prices and combat inflation? So what's the deal? And the US and Venezuela are still hostile to each other. Later, the US reimposed sanctions on Venezuela because failed to reach an agreement for a fair and open election. It is really interfering the other countries' internal affairs. It's said that US sanctions cost Venezuela $30 billion in economic losses. During the last 10 years, Venezuela lost 7.7 million people as refugees or immigrants. 20% of Venezuela oil goes to Chevron for the US, and 65% of it goes to China. As I mentioned before, Venezuela oil is a heavy oil and need a refinery, so it's cheaper. But no matter what, Venezuela holds 18% of the world oil reserves. Amazing. And the former leader, Hugo Chavez, 63% of people were on the government assistance financially. US sanctions left Venezuela not even knowing how to refine oil, practically starving them. Then the world oil prices was down. Sad and pathetic. Governments should learn from this. Don't just give out the welfare money to people to buy votes. Government should encourage people to learn a skill. Also, whether the government is corrupt deeply affects people's living standards. At the end of July, Venezuela had an election and Maduro was re-elected. Some people were unhappy, leading to riots. Compared to Zelensky in Ukraine and Netanyahu in Israel, at least Maduro held an election. The other two don't even hold elections, afraid of losing power. Maduro had the guts to hold an election, and the riots followed. 7 Central and South American countries, Argentina, Chile, Costa Rica, Peru, Panama, Dominican Republic, and Uruguay, didn't recognize the election results. Maduro told their diplomats to leave. Countries recognized Maduro's victory, including China, Russia, Cuba, Turkey, Iran, and Syria. The struggle continues. The US probably hope Maduro goes into exile. I've been in the scrap business in South America for 30 years. Once I started doing business in Brazil, I completed the business deals in all 10 South American countries, which including Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Uruguay, Paraguay, Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, Colombia, and Venezuela. My assistant asked if we should count the 3 small northern countries. They are remains of the old imperialism because their name is English Guiana, French Guiana, and Dutch Guiana. Guiana means land of many waters in the local language. A few months ago, Maduro suddenly said he wanted to go to war with his neighbor, Guyana. One conflict in Europe, one in Middle East, Does we need one in South America? In October 2023, Maduro visited China for 7 days, quite a long state visit, and achieved 3 major agreements. China will provide the technical support for all refinery, use Huawei technologies, comprehensive agriculture cooperation. After Maduro returned, the U.S. immediately extended an olive branch, offering to cancel or partially lift financial sanctions on Venezuela. So Maduro's visit to China achieved his goal of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But then the U.S. reimposed the sanction because Venezuela wasn't cooperating. Now Maduro is tough on his neighbor, Guyana, with a strong chance of conflict. The U.S. immediately had a Navy fleet showed up in Caribbean Sea. Finally, the situation was quieted down. Let's look at the neighbors. A. Guyana was initially occupied by Dutch. After the British took over Dutch control, they kept Guyana as a colony until its independence in 1966, becoming a republic in 1970, with 10 administrative regions. The capital is Georgetown. However, the western border with Venezuela is disputed. The area west of the Essequibo River was originally occupied by Spain and should have been Venezuela's. But during the 19th century, British imperialism decided the border. In 1905, an agreement was made, but the dispute remains. Why is it flaring up now, after so many years? Simple answer: oil. ExxonMobil has a significant investment in South America and recently expressed interest in collaborating with Guyana on oil development. Looking at the Essequibo River, it runs north-south, and the dispute area covers nearly 2/3 of Guyana's land. Even though Guyana is small with a sparse population, they won't give up 2/3 of the land, especially since their per capita income rose from $6,500 in 2019 to $18,000 in 2022. They won't let it go. The U.S. announced a military exercise in the Caribbean, likely to make Maduro quiet down. In 1978, Guyana was the site of a major religious incident, where an American cult leader led his followers to mass suicide, resulting in over 900 deaths, bringing the small country to the international attention. B. Next door is Suriname, formerly Dutch Guiana. It renamed a Dutch territory until 1975. People have lived there since 4000 BC. In the 16th century, the Dutch came for sugarcane. Today, 60% still speak Dutch, with a per capita income about $5,000. It's sort of low. Its main exports are bauxite, the ninth largest producer globally, with 15% of world reserves, oil and gold, and agricultural products like bananas. Major trade partners are the U.S., Netherlands, UAE, and the neighbor Guyana. The population is 610,000 people. Despite its small size, it is politically stable with a Democrat government. Crime is manageable, and the lack of international news suggests relatively stability. From 1980 to 1982, a Chinese Hakkai named Chen was president. Chinese make up 7% of the population and ran 70% of the retail business. Chinese New Year is a national holiday here, and there are Chinese newspapers and Chinese community centers. C. The farthest is French Guiana, with a population of over 300,000 people. The capital is Guyana, and 99% rainforest. 41% of it is Guyana Amazon Park. It's an overseas region of France, officially part of France and the EU, using euro, the money. It's also a base for the European Space Agency Equatorial Space Test. France attempted to colonize it in 1763 but failed due to tropical diseases. Later, it became a penal colony. From 1809 to 1817, Portuguese took over. Notice that from 1800 to 1815, due to Napoleon chaos in Europe, it affected even in South America. After 1817, French Guiana returned back to France as a French penal deportation. During World War II, it belongs to Free France, and post-war became an overseas department of France. The president is Macron, of course. I hope you like my show. We'll stop here.